Ashley is here to read to us. He's going to share information about a new event debuting locally at the Venice Unitarian Church on April the 13th at 2 p.m. It's a performative reading of the King James Gospel of St. Mark. Ashley, this show is Writers on the Air. How is the Gospel of St. Mark relevant to our listeners?
Well, for writers of the English language, this edition of the Bible is foundational to the English language. And not just the English language, but really the formation of the English identity. So this was commissioned by King James the First in 1604. And this was all, after the separation from the Catholic Church, which happened under Henry. But what King James wanted was to give the English people a version of the Bible that was in their common tongue. Okay, and most people were illiterate, so he wanted the language to be clear and poetic and powerful because people were absorbing the gospel orally. They were listening to it. And if you are a writer, you have almost certainly either used many of the phrases that are in the book or tried to avoid them because many of them are so cliche. I'm going to read a few here. Bite the dust, the blind leading the blind. By the skin of your teeth, broken heart, can a leopard change his spots? Cast the first stone, drop in a bucket. There's about 60 of these here, but I'm not going to run through all of them. But what's interesting about the history of it is that it really did help form the English identity because not too long in the past, there were dialects that were mutually incomprehensible in England that were just, 20 kilometers away from one another. You could go outside London, travel for 20 kilometers, and not understand what the other person was saying. So that's why this is called the Common Book. In a way, this is the formation of modern English in a very profound way. And not just that, but the writing in it was put together by a panel of 54 scholars and leading poets, one of whom is thought to have been Shakespeare. There's some contextual clues in there, but it's the same era. It has that powerful Elizabethan language. And if you're a writer and you want to read an example of spare, clear, and powerful prose, there's really nothing better than this.
I understand. So.
Oh, okay. The other thing is, if you haven't heard it read out loud in its entirety, which I think very few people have, Mark is the shortest of all the Gospels, and it's all plot, it's all action, and there are a lot of characters that can be played. It's very playable, it's very human, and it's very accessible. And to me, as someone who's not brought up in the church, it was just a lot of fun. As an actor, I could play it very well. Yes. So this is a fun little bit that I like when the Sadducees are challenging Jesus. Okay? Then come unto him the Sadducees, which say that there is no resurrection. And they asked him, saying, Master, Moses wrote to us, if a man's brother die and leave his wife behind him, and leave no children, that his brother should take his wife, and raise up seed unto his brother. Now, there were 7 brethren, and the first took a wife, and dying left no seed. And the second took her, and died, neither left he any seed. And the third likewise. And the 7 had her, and left no seed. Last of all, the woman died also. In the resurrection, therefore, when they shall rise, whose wife shall she be of them? For the 7 had her to wife. And Jesus answering said unto them, Do ye not therefore err, because ye know not the Scriptures, neither the power of God? For when they shall rise from the dead, they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are as the angels which are in heaven. And as touching the dead that they rise, have ye not read in the book of Moses, how in the bush God spake unto him, saying, I am the God of Abraham, and the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob? He is not the God of the dead, but the God of the living. Ye therefore do greatly err. And one of the scribes came, having heard them reasoning together, and perceiving that he had answered them well, asked him, Which is the first commandment of all? And Jesus answered him, The first commandment of all is, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind, and with all thy strength. This is the first commandment. And the second is like, namely this, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. There is none other commandment greater than these. The scribe said unto him, Well, master, thou hast said the truth. For there is one God, and there is none other but he. And to love him with all the heart, and with all the understanding, and with all the soul, and with all the strength, and to love his neighbor as himself, is more than all whole burnt offerings and sacrifices. And when Jesus saw he answered discreetly, he said unto him, Thou art not far from the kingdom of God. And after that, no man durst ask him any question.
Very good, very good. Now, would you tell us again where you'll be performing and how people can get tickets?
Yes, it is going to be at the Venice Unitarian Church on April 13th at 2 p.m. You can call them or you can go to kingjameslive.org. kingjameslive.org and just leave us a message and we'll make sure you get a ticket. Okay?
Terrific.
Thank you so much for having us. It was a blast.
You were wonderful.
Thank you. You were wonderful.
And now I won't be able to read my poem about God has moved. I wasn't going to read that today.